South Africa has been thrown into a state of intense turmoil as political tensions rise to unprecedented levels following a discovery that has shocked the nation and left political insiders scrambling for explanations. What began as a routine police inspection has escalated with stunning speed into one of the most explosive political scandals in the country's democratic history. Sources close to the investigation revealed that police officers uncovered significant amounts of cash hidden in secret compartments inside President Cyril Ramaphosa's private residence, a revelation described by insiders as both disturbing and unprecedented. The discovery came after law enforcement agencies received a confidential tip-off regarding suspicious financial activities connected to individuals within the upper ranks of the African National Congress. Acting on this intelligence, investigators launched a discreet operation at one of the president's private properties, only to uncover a trove of hidden safes and compartments built behind walls and beneath floorboards. Inside these concealed spaces, officers reportedly found bundles of local and foreign currency, some still sealed, amounting to what investigators are calling an unexplained fortune. One officer, speaking under condition of anonymity, insisted this was no minor discovery but rather millions of rand and foreign notes meticulously hidden, suggesting a deliberate attempt to keep the funds out of sight. As news of the raid broke, social media platforms erupted with disbelief and outrage. Hashtags like #RamaphosaRaid, #HiddenCash, and #ANCExpose surged across timelines as furious citizens vented their anger, calling the discovery yet another example of hypocrisy and corruption at the highest levels of government. Many expressed disbelief that a president who has consistently spoken about fighting corruption could now be linked to hidden caches of cash inside his own home, with one viral post asking how a nation was expected to trust a leader who appeared to embody the very misconduct he condemned. Political opposition parties quickly capitalized on the moment, demanding full accountability and transparency. Democratic Alliance leader John Steenhuisen called for an immediate, independent investigation into the origins of the money, while leaders of the economic freedom fighters declared the ANC to be a house built on lies and looted money. Inside Parliament, tension rose sharply, with ANC members either refusing to comment or admitting privately that the discovery could represent a breaking point for both the party and the presidency. Many citizens, political analysts, and commentators drew parallels to the infamous Fela farm scandal in which foreign currency hidden inside furniture on Ramaphosa's game farm was stolen, sparking global headlines. Though he defended himself then by asserting the money originated from legitimate livestock sales, this new discovery has reopened old wounds and raised fresh doubts about his integrity, prompting observers to call the situation Fela 2.0, only far more serious because this cash was allegedly found in his private residence rather than a business property. Speculation now swirls around whether the president was aware of the presence of undeclared funds in his home or whether individuals within his inner circle orchestrated the concealment without his knowledge. Either possibility is damaging, particularly given Ramaphosa's long-cultivated reputation as a reformer committed to transparency and ethical governance. Sources within the investigative unit described the operation as both delicate and meticulously planned. They indicated that the discovery forms part of a wider probe into money laundering and corruption networks linked to multiple ANC-affiliated entities. Investigators are currently working to trace serial numbers and track the origins of the foreign currency to determine whether it moved through illegal financial channels. One insider emphasized the sophistication of the concealment method, hidden compartments embedded into the structure of the house, suggesting long-term planning rather than a spontaneous attempt to stash money. These findings have intensified suspicions that the operation may be part of a much larger, coordinated corruption scheme rather than an isolated incident. Inside ANC headquarters at Luthuli House, reports indicate that panic has taken hold. Senior party members have held urgent closed-door meetings in an attempt to strategize damage control as the scandal spirals. Deep divisions within the party are said to be widening, with some factions urging Ramaphosa to publicly address the allegations, while others argue that silence may buy time until law enforcement agencies release their findings. Yet the president's continued silence has only deepened public distrust and fueled speculation. Opposition parties, civil society groups, and anti-corruption organizations are calling for his immediate suspension pending the outcome of the investigation. Transparency watchdogs have filed formal requests under South Africa's financial accountability laws demanding a complete explanation for the presence of the hidden funds. For many ordinary South Africans, the revelation has felt like a deeply personal betrayal. At a time when unemployment remains high, inflation is rising, and the cost of living is crushing family budgets, the discovery of millions of rand hidden in the president's private home has ignited outrage. Protesters have poured into the streets of Johannesburg, Cape Town, Durban, and other cities demanding justice and chanting that no one, not even the president, should be above the law. One protester captured the national mood during a live television interview, stating that an ordinary citizen would have been arrested immediately and asking why the president should be treated differently. Analysts now believe that the scandal may determine the future of Ramaphosa's presidency. If evidence emerges that he knew about or benefited from the hidden funds, he could face impeachment and possibly criminal charges. Moreover, insiders suggest that other properties linked to high-ranking officials are already under quiet investigation, hinting that this may be only the beginning of a much broader corruption crisis within the ruling party. Ramaphosa, who for years positioned himself as the ANC's reformer and the leader who would cleanse the party of corruption, now faces the collapse of the image he carefully crafted. The ANC, already weakened by years of factional infighting, appears to be approaching a breaking point. Some senior members fear irreversible damage to the party's credibility ahead of upcoming elections, while Ramaphosa's opponents within the ANC may use the scandal as an opportunity to push him out. His allies warn that the investigation should proceed without prejudice, but with each passing day the pressure intensifies both domestically and internationally. The scandal has reignited long-standing debates about endemic corruption within South Africa's political system. Many citizens now view this discovery as symptomatic of a deep-rooted culture of impunity among the political elite. The ANC's handling of corruption cases, often perceived as inconsistent or overly protective of party members, has fueled anger and disillusionment. Civil society groups and anti-corruption activists are calling for sweeping reforms to strengthen the independence of investigative bodies and improve oversight of public finances. Meanwhile, the media continues to uncover new details, adding more layers of complexity and suspicion. International observers are watching closely, concerned about the scandal's impact on South Africa's political stability and economy. Foreign investors, already wary of volatility, are paying attention, and economists warn that if the president fails to address the situation decisively and transparently, South Africa could face further declines in investor confidence and additional pressure on the currency. Comparisons have already been drawn to corruption scandals from previous administrations, especially the controversies that surrounded former President Jacob Zuma. South Africans are now asking whether the cycle of corruption will ever be broken. The ANC, once celebrated for its role in the liberation struggle, finds itself at a crossroads, battling not only public fury but internal conflict as factions argue over whether Ramaphosa remains the party's best hope for reform or whether his leadership has become a liability. Rumors circulate in political circles about potential successors should he be forced to resign, creating an atmosphere of instability within the party and across government structures. Meanwhile, investigators continue analyzing the recovered banknotes, cross-referencing serial numbers with international financial databases. Early indications suggest that some of the currency may be linked to overseas accounts associated with private companies known to have historical ties to the ANC. If confirmed, such findings could broaden the investigation significantly, potentially implicating additional high-profile figures. Legal experts predict that the judicial process will be long and complex, possibly involving multiple political leaders. As one investigative source remarked, "We are only scratching the surface. What we have found so far might just be the beginning." Whether the discovery represents a misunderstanding, a politically motivated setup, or the exposure of a deeply entrenched corruption network remains to be seen. What is certain is that South Africa now stands at a defining moment. The scandal has shattered any lingering belief that the country's top leadership is insulated from wrongdoing, and the truth behind the hidden cash has the potential to reshape the nation's political future. With protests intensifying, investigations expanding, and international attention mounting, South Africans wait anxiously for answers, hoping that justice will prevail regardless of how uncomfortable the truth may be.